Altamirano actually spending a lot of time in the Sacramento area with Coach Joey. So two different paths from two different parts of the country colliding right now for this big moment, and let's see what happens today.
Collin Altamirano taking out the #1 seed in the 18s, Gage Breimer, 6-0, 6-1. He will serve to start the championship. And Jared Donaldson won the toss, elected to receive. Does that play into kind of the mental step up you were talking about in the 16s match, Mark?
In a 3 out of 5 setter, I don't think it's a bad play. He chose to take the win and try to break here and get off to a good start. And I think that, you saw right away there's a difference in maturity here. Physical maturity, mental maturity, emotional maturity. I mean, look at this first rally. The crowd actually is already engaged because we got a rally over 20 hits for the very first point of this. And if this continues like this, we may be here for a while.
15 love.
Wow. We saw quite a few of those in the 16 and under match, but
yeah, he was a little distracted there by the ball kid. These guys are, again, playing with full line crews, which is an adjustment, playing with ball kids. So there's a whole different routine and rhythm to sort of get established and comfortable with out here on a match like this.
$15-30. $15-40, 2 break points.
An early hurdle here for the server, Collin Altamirano.
Or 30-40, excuse me.
Still 1 break point.
Quite a point.
It's great tennis there. And what I like about this already, from talking to the different coaches and players before the match, the Altamirano camp felt that they wanted to make this more of a skill match, more using various heights and speeds and spins. And Donaldson felt that he wanted to sort of dictate play and get inside the court and push Collin around corner to corner. You're starting to see both of them try to connect to their strategy. But what you found there in that first game was that Donaldson sort of was moving Collin around on that last break point of 30-40 and had a couple of opportunities to maybe come forward and go big, and he was happy to just move him, and he eventually made the error there. Collin was willing to be the antagonist there. Be interesting to see as the rallies unfold and as they change ends from with the win or against the win, if both players are continuing to try to dictate. That's the tennis right there that I was told by Donaldson that he wants to play. I mean, there he jumped on that forehand. He looked very confident doing it. And again, he used the lane. He hit that shot exactly where the wind is blowing right now, which is into the Altamirano backhand right now in that corner. And he hit that and immediately came forward. There was no hesitation there because he's familiar with how the court and the breeze is already playing within the first game. I think sometimes we don't talk about that enough. When you're watching Federer and Nadal, they're just so good at it that you don't realize that there's actually tactical implications with the sides of the court that you're playing on, and how sometimes you may have a generic game plan, like I want to hit to his forehand, I want to hit to his backhand, but sometimes you actually have to split the match into, with the win I play him this way, and against the win I play him that way, and sometimes that's a better way to sort of organize a match.
Break point facing Altamirano here. As you said, Jared Donaldson wanting to dictate play and mixing it up a little bit there.
Well, the thing is that you don't normally suggest that he plays the drop shot with the wind, but since it's the first one that he tried, and they've been having these long extended rallies, there was an element of disguise there and caught Collin off guard, so it was a good choice. Relatively speaking, I wouldn't endorse him to do that regularly from that end, but I think that after several long points and several long rallies already in this first game, it was a nice mix-up, and obviously done at the right time to get that first game.
The early break and the early advantage going to the 14 seed Jared Donaldson. We mentioned Altamirano's ride here to this championship match. Jared Donaldson, the 14 seed, and a couple of close sets yesterday with the 2 seed Noah Rubin 7-6, 7-5. And now he's up 1-love opening set to serve.
Christine Love. Love.
Badly missed hit by Collin.
Well, early on, sometimes those things happen. You're trying to get a feel for how the court is playing. Again, it's a big stadium court atmosphere. Because there's been tennis out here a lot today, these guys haven't actually played on this court. They've warmed up on a different court and now coming out to play here on the side.
30-15.
This late in the week, is there a big difference between the two, given that Altamirano basically cruised through his semifinal match versus the test that Donaldson faced with 7-6, 7-5?
You know, it's an interesting thing to look at. I feel like the fact that they've been playing low pressure, the expectations have not been high on them. You know, but on the same note, the expectations haven't been high, but in their minds, their expectations were high because they're training professionally. So they're thinking they can come in here on the dark horse. So you saw, it was evident early in the tournament that they both almost lost because they're thinking big things, but other people aren't giving them any respect. And they had to kind of earn their street cred, so to speak, here. I mean, you know, Donaldson has just been playing a lot of pros, and Altamirano as well. I think that Donaldson got his seeding here from playing at the professional ranks. I mean, they've been spending some time sort of developing some wins out there in that level. And I think that Donaldson quarterfinaled a futures event. He actually qualified and quarterfinaled in Venezuela. And the seedings at this tournament are tricky because they use a combination of ATP ranking, ITF ranking, and then USTA ranking to sort of respect the level of the players, which they'll need to do here because you also have collegiate players in this field as well.
Game Altamirano. Games are 1-all.
And you hear the little allay there from Altamirano, and he definitely appears to be, you know, like a David Nalbandian type of guy. You know, a big, strong bull that's hitting from the ground and willing to kind of engage you and push you into long competitive rallies. And Donaldson's going to be sort of the up-tempo guy that plays the ball on the rise and creates more holes. Smart serve there.
Big first serve there.
But different than the younger boys here. Still hitting it, but still hitting it to places, hitting it to locations, and using big targets. And the serve percentage is obviously already better in this men's boys 18 final than the 16 final.
Winner off the backhand there from Jared Donaldson.
15-0.
And there's a lot of disguise in that. It was hard to tell where he was going to go with that, but again, the rhythm that we weren't able to get as much, we were talking so much about with Devine in the earlier final. You can see once you get a steady diet of serves in, it helps the first shot and the ability to direct and control the points.
30-15.
Whoa! 30-all.
That's a tricky one. He's got to be careful and manage the toss there with the wind behind him blowing to his right. The ball toss will go forward, and sometimes you don't get under the kick like that. So that's a very common double fault sometimes when the wind's behind you if you don't really position yourself under the kick serve.
That was his second double fault of the match. 30-40.
That's really dangerous. You know, you have a 30-15 and you did some good things. You play that double fault and then out of nowhere, a quick error. You know, I like the fact that he's going to the tower right there to try to compose himself because he's, you know, did a great job in breaking back. But the one thing you don't want to do now is start trading breaks like your serve is not important in a match like this.
We've seen the players trade breaks to start the match. Altamirano serving down another break point.
And the crowd likes this Altamirano. I think he must have won some fans over yesterday with the big win that he had. And honestly, he did not come in on a good approach shot. I mean, it was a bluff. He hit a mediocre ball in the middle of the court to Donaldson's forehand, and Donaldson tried him. He went after him a couple times. Hey, can you volley? Hey, can you volley? And Altamirano held up. Excellent job there in a big moment. Yeah, that's that service toss comment that I was making. That's a real common double fault in juniors, and not usually with 18 and under boys. They usually have that problem solved. So that's a little uncharacteristic, I'm sure, for Collin. I haven't seen him play much, but definitely with a game style like his, I'm sure he's not giving a lot of free points on second serves. So good. Such a good shot. And again, that's right now the way the court's playing. That breeze is affecting that shot. So that cross-court backhand or an inside-out forehand from that end, the way Tommy Paul was working that inside-out forehand and that backhand he just hit, that's an area of the court that's always going to give you some help today.
First serve in, point one.
It's amazing the little mini momentum shifts that are going back and forth in these games, but I feel like the serving and the returning is almost synonymous to like the beginning of a play in football.
Game Altamirano. He leads 2-1. First set.
And our first service hold of the match in the first set. Collin Altamirano, the first, or looking to be the first unseeded champion here in Kalamazoo, facing the 14 seed Jared Donaldson with the service hold and the 2-1 first set lead. And I felt like maybe there was a little bit of a feeling out period that should be over by now between these two.
Well, also, if you notice, all 3 games have been won by the player that's had the wind at their back. So there's a win dynamic that's connected to this, but also clearly you have to solve the problem. The players that are playing on the near side to us still have to be able to hold serve, and they're also playing on this near side with the sun in their eye. So this side is against the wind and sun in their eye, and over a 3 out of 5 set match to see who does a better job of holding down here will be BMT. You're the person that's in control.
Yeah.
If you're missing first serves and the other person's making first serves, then you're sort of starting off on the defensive end of things. So just the way like an offensive line and a defensive line battle with each other for time to get to the quarterback or run a good play, it's no different than tennis. You have to earn or win the collision, if you will, between serving and returning initially so you can really organize the points. And we'll see here if now Donaldson can put together a quality serve game with the win. Wow.
About 15.
So now, and Altamirano is smiling then because he knows he's getting away with it a little bit. I mean, his approach shot was a little bit better this time, but he still has been in a position where he's somewhat vulnerable up there with Donaldson having a couple of seconds to line up the pass, and he's been able to win this battle now twice coming in.
Jared Donaldson yet to hold serve in this first set. Serving down 1-2.
There's the ball. That's the magic play for either player.
Tactical mistake, and clearly Tommy Paul understood it well and earned himself a national title and a wild card to the U.S. Open Juniors.
at stake here, an open bid to the U.S. Open, or a wild card bid to the U.S. Open for these two. Jared Donaldson, the 14 seed, Collin Altamirano unseeded.
30 all.
And once again, break point facing Jared Donaldson.
You know, Donaldson has unfortunately gone in and out. I mean, he's shown some extremely high-level ball production from his ground strokes, and I think his backhand has dropped a little bit of a level than when he first started. His forehand has still been a pretty strong weapon.
Game. Altamirano. He leads 3-1. First set.
And the difference so far is the games have been really close and a lot of long rallies, but the very sort of key money point moments at the end of these games, Altamirano has either outcompeted him or snuck in and played a volley or got a free point on the first serve. But see, that right there is the type of tennis that I'm sure is why Donaldson was able to win, you know, several matches at the professional level. You know, as a kid to just be turning 17 and be able to go deep into, you know, future tournaments, you got to be able to hit the ball. Yeah.
Nice put away by Altamirano.
And he's showing some variety. He's showing that he's a grinder guy, and he can, again, be that Nalbandian guy. But I can't say that Nalbandian jumps up after a first serve and hits the swinger for an inside-in winner. I mean, the variety and the willingness to engage the net so far has been actually pretty impressive by Collin so far.
Continues to build some consistency, he'll see his opponent create some more errors, which we saw there.
Well, the thing right now is a little tricky for Donaldson is that he tends to play pretty clean on the backhand. It's kind of a flatter backhand. Doesn't hit with enough margin on his backhand. So if he's down in the score and he's a little worried, see, like that backhand's just barely clearing. That's a little bit better safety there, but. Yeah, he's done a good job of moving the ball around, but Collin's done an even better job of counterattacking and battling back from being pushed around. He's getting back to neutral and centering the ball and getting the ball back deep, and then at that point, after the rally's been extended, Donaldson's finally starting to make more enforced errors.
Service ace.
Game Altamirano. He leads 4-1. First set.
And I think this is really helping Collin, or it seems to be helping Collin settle into his service games and helping him get it on the board here, and he's got the early advantage 4-1 in this opening set.
Well, I mean, in playing a match, usually in a tennis match, 2 out of 3 sets, the person that wins, you know, 60 to 65 points. So now we're talking 3 out of 5 today. I mean, someone's going to have to win probably 100 points or more to be a champion in this match. And you've got to win points in some different areas. You know, maybe some come from your first serve, some come from your offense off the ground, some come from transition, great returns. And already, I just like the diverse portfolio that Altamirano has been showing us so far. He's clearly not in awe of the moment, and this time that he spent with Coach Joey Gilbert. Again, he spent a lot of time with him. He literally lived with Joey for several years together. So Joey has pretty much been a mentor and a coach for Collin, and I think that relationship and sort of managing him in this moment has really allowed him today to get off to such a great start. It'll be interesting to see how this plays out, but extremely diverse backgrounds, different paths, with Donaldson training in Argentina for the last 3 years and not even being in the States. These guys are not playing in U.S. junior tournaments against the other kids. There's a lot of people that would probably disagree with that path, but it's gotten these guys in this big moment today.
Jared Donaldson, the 14 seed, serving down 1-4, opening set. And painting the baseline.
But, you know, if you get down like that at 1-4, this is a long match, and it's a long haul, and there's going to be ball changes and a lot with this. You know, the nice thing is that the weather's mild, but you know, Donaldson clearly is an on-the-rise, dictate with the forehand type of guy. And you know, you get down 1-4, the very first point you play should look like that. Now here he is again, right back to his best. This is his best tennis. Now that's unfortunate that, you know, Altamirano showed him some skill. That's what Joey Gilbert talked about, using his skill shots there, because that was a great forehand. It was good position by Donaldson. I like the sneak by Donaldson, but he was neutralized by a low slice and just didn't adjust. That's good tennis on both sides. Yeah, it's perfect. So even after he lost the last point, he went right back to it and said, hey, you know what? I'm going to step up. I'm going to do my thing. I'm going to dictate. I'm going to do what got me here. And obviously he's looking to now start adding some net appearances of his own, because Collin's integrated that into the match. And this is the maturity that you like to see out of some 17-year-olds, evolving as the match goes on.
30-15.
That's something that we really didn't see in our 16 and under final. Just what Collin definitely was hoping for it. Thought maybe the crosswind brought it back in, but definitely a good call by the referee.
40-15.
Tough one so far. I mean, he clearly is carrying some stress here. You can see it in his face. He just desperately wants to get this second game on the board. He's got to really settle down and play a good point here. They say tennis is a game of inches, and he's just lost 2 points now by probably 2 inches. Yeah, that's all stress. That's all stress. He needs to settle down there. He's upset because it went from 40-30, from 40 love to 40-30 rather, and you know, a first ball error right there is really not the good message that you want to send.
And a good first serve and an easy point.
Yeah, and you can see here a little bit more of the maturity, how, you know, the top players, you watch a Djokovic or you watch a Nadal on TV, these guys, They take time. They go to the towel even after points that they've won, because clearly the next situation is just as important. So Donaldson here realizes how critical it is to get this hold, get on the board with the second game. Trying to take his time there, but again he went to a narrow target serve, which I probably wouldn't have been as in favor of there.
Good rally.
Yeah, it's good fighting by Altamirano. He just understands the importance of the consistency, and also he plays really, in my opinion, great margin. You don't see him sort of flattening out balls at the wrong time. Or when he's deeper in the court, he plays the balls higher. Just a lot of good sort of ground stroke basics in Collin's decision making.
Advantage Altamirano.
Again, tennis a game of inches, and that time barely outside the baseline, but called long.
Well, I mentioned that before, and I just think that Donaldson on the backhand gets a little flat, and Altamirano is going to roll that ball up there and try to get him to miss time one every now and then, and he was able to do that on that point, a critical deuce point here. So,
and we're back to deuce.
That's a tough one. Again, you can't blame Collin for wanting to start the point off that way, but with that breeze blowing out to that area, it's easy to miss it wide, and you've got to just put enough safety on it so you don't end up letting Mother Nature beat you on that game point, because making a statement here to break him again and not allow him to hold it all this set would just be a huge statement for this match.
Jared Donaldson serving at deuce, down 1-4, opening set.
Just missed it again.
Advantage Altamirano.
Break point.
Yeah, it's unfortunately some of these flat backhands that don't have enough safety on it. He's got to really settle down. It's interesting, the tensions these guys are playing with are just like the guys on the tour. You've got Donaldson with 46 pounds in his Lux, his racket, and Altamirano is playing 52 pounds with Solinco Tour Bite. So these guys are stringing their rackets like the big boys.
Game Altamirano. He leads 5-1. First set.
Collin Altamirano unseated from Yuba City, California, now up 5-1 opening set. And a chance here to serve out for this set, and we'll have to see how he responds to that pressure on the national stage.
I didn't get to ask Collin if he was ever a ball boy or he was ever around it, but Yuba City is a stop on the professional circuit tour. So there's actually pro tennis in that town, and sometimes, as you've seen in the many stories, everyone knows the Donald Young, John McEnroe story as a ball boy and all. When you have that pro tennis in your town and you get a chance to get motivated and exposed to it, it's great for a lot of kids.
Love 15, the early score.
That's well played.
12:30.
More of a frustrated, sort of mad shot right there. But again, it's a big cross-court ball to a safe target. So I'd rather see him miss in that manner than these backhand down the lines that just cost him. He missed 3 down the line backhands in that last game. missed it again. But, you know, that was a trickier one, you know. It looks like that's a bad miss because obviously he had plenty of time. But when you choose to run around the forehand like he did there, but the crosswind is blowing the ball into his hip, it's much easier to mistime that and miss that one. Right now where Altamirano is, it's easier to run around forehands. It's a little bit more difficult for Donaldson. It requires a little bit more footwork, and it's easy to have that point of contact cause that inside-in error.
15-30.
30 all.
30 all.
Forty 30.
Donaldson's very frustrated. He's trying to work the ref a little bit for a call. Ref
Set
felt
point.
pretty comfortable with the call.
Deuce.
Also, I like how, you know, the guy, particularly Altamirano on the far side, is kind of sneaking into the shade out there. He's going to get the towel, but he's getting himself in the shade to kind of relax himself when he comes back out. And he is doing a tremendous job, not necessarily going big all the time, but he established consistency and percentages, and now he's able to go in and out of big serving and spot serving. I really like the serve profile here. And now look at that variety. Just a tremendous
Yesterday
amount.
opening up for Altamirano.
Yeah, but I mean, you can do that because it's just like in any sport, you know, when the team is playing well or a player is playing well, you know, you're building off of positive moments there, and he really understands this. I'm impressed so far. Clearly, in a 3 out of 5 set match, it's a long way to go, and I feel that Donaldson will definitely make a positive response to what's happened here in this first set, but I'm pretty impressed by this Collin Altamirano at this point.
Unseeded, Collin Altamirano taking the first set of the best 3 out of 5 here in the Junior Boys 18 National Championships. Carolyn Binder, Mark Bay, Bob Wood, along with you on the Public Media Network and USTAboys.com. Now we'll turn it back over to the tower.
We will now present
another award here
the award
as we continue
for fifth
here
place
on
and sixth
Championship
place.
Sunday.
the Boys 16 Championship. Presenting the award is Liz Ardema of our Ceremonies Committee. First, the runner-up in Boys 16 Speed and Championship and 6th place goes to Taylor Fritz of Santa Rancho, California. And the award to the champion in Boys 16 Speeding, representing 5th place in the tournament, goes to Nathan Ponwith of Scottsdale, Arizona.
Coverage continues now from the 2013 USTA Boys National Championships. It's Championship Sunday. Carolyn Binder, Mark Bay, and Bob Wood rejoining you. And guys, just your thoughts on that opening set between the unseeded Collin Altamirano and the 14-seed Jared Donaldson.
Well, Altamirano has continued his hot streak, as I mentioned before the match started. 6 out of his last 8 sets have he's won either 6-1 or 6-low. It's now 7 out of 9 because he just took that first set 6-1. So we'll have to see what happens here.
Jared Donaldson starting the second set on his serve.
That's tough. I really like the point that Donaldson was playing there. A lot of energy, good targets, good footwork. He was building the point. He was moving forward. He took the approach shot and came in. You know, that's the tennis. I really like that first point. That means that he's learned a little bit from what happened in that first set.
Up 30.
That's bad luck, but you know, that's a really good lesson for a lot of young juniors watching this to take a look at. The top players on the tour hit the return hard, deep up the middle, more often than any other location. They're not trying to find amazing spots on the return. It's much more about neutralizing and taking time away from the server. And that return from Altamirano there was perfectly, you know, indicative of that concept. It's great. I like it.
Good movement there from Donaldson.
And he was comfortable there. And I mean, he hit the volley. He didn't hit it as clean as he would have liked, but he looked really, you know, I thought competent coming forward. So if he really has that as a part of his game that he can utilize, then I hope that we'll see more of that from him. And in general, when you have that side with the win at your back, you should be dictating play and making more net appearances.
15-30.
Yep, that's exactly what I'm looking for. To me, that's the magic ticket. Dictating forehands through this corner here and then looking to make net appearances. If it was me playing this match right now, I would have that point being played at least 50 to 70 times today. Every single time I was over there, whenever I had the opportunity, I would connect to that pattern. I'm interested to see how Donaldson you know, continues to play this trying to get his first service hold. Good tennis.
Altamirano not sparing the horses on either his forehand or his backhand there.
Well, no, but he showed obviously a really important sort of counter-attacking philosophy about being the against-the-wind guy. He immediately, really what opened up the point was one ball he made wide over to Donaldson's forehand. He's got to try to open up the court to Donaldson's forehand on this side, but then after that, stay inside the court, stay on the blue and keep dictating. And he didn't back off. He stayed on top of him there and kept him running.
Break point facing Jared Donaldson.
Missed it.
Game Altamirano. He wins the first game, second set.
Incredible use of the crosswind there. You saw he barely even hit that shot. And then after it bounced, it just took a severe shift and pushed Donaldson off of his balance point. And that down the line looked open, but from the position that Donaldson was at, it's just a difficult geometry. And it's a little bit of a lesson. And right now, the message is that Donaldson's service game is not going to cut it today against Altamirano, and he's got to find ways to get himself, you know, some service holds. Otherwise, this could end up being a blowout.
Collin Altamirano taking the first break in the first game of the second set over Jared Donaldson. Now 1 game to love, and Collin will be serving with a set in the bank here in this 2013 Boys USTA 18 Singles Championship. And on the line, a wild card bid to the U.S. Open.
Excellent play.
We've seen that from Donaldson throughout this match. He just hasn't been able to string those together.
And particularly hasn't been able to win the points late in the games. He's lost a lot. Very close. So that was an overrule.
15 all.
That's a tough one. That's the line that we're sitting right on here, and
It looked good to me. I got a pretty good view of that.
that's the line that we actually can fairly call on. I just think right now Donaldson's a little frustrated.
A backhand of Donaldson being tested on that point. Altamirano frustrated with himself, but he stayed in that point very well.
Well, that particular time, you know, the down the line backhand Donaldson hit got through the court, and he followed it in. I just feel like in general that Donaldson is more committed to his transition game right now. If he's going to win this match, I just don't feel that he's going to be able to dictate enough and win the points from back without making some pressure forward. I think he's going to need a combination of offense and some sneaks. Again, Altamirano does an excellent job there connecting back to the corner where I think a majority of the points have been won by the player on that far side. Now let's see now what his choice is. Does he go for a big first serve here, or does he take a little bit of pace off and try to hit a kicker to Donaldson's backhand? It goes big serve backhand. Missed it.
There's the break that Jared needed to get into the set.
And with Altamirano, he's not per se just punishing the forehand. He's not penetrating through. It's not like a birdage type of forehand where it's moving through the court really clean. You know, he's got a lot of heavy spin on it, and every now and then in some of those instances he might pull his head off the ball when you're trying to hit that and shank it, and he did that there. Clearly a little bit of a positive feel good for Donaldson, because now he's earned some respect here, and we're back at 1-all.
Jared Donaldson serving at 1-all, second set, down a set to Collin Altamirano.
But even more importantly, he's yet to hold serve in this tennis match, and he's going to have to make that statement right now. Cute.
What a tennis point. What an absolute.
Yeah, but Coach Joey Gilbert told us to me. He said he felt that his guy was more of a skill guy and could do more things. And right there, he showed you open stance forehand, slice backhand, up the line approach shot, no look angle volley. I mean, he's giving you, all kinds of, this is like a Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan display here.
You name it, Altamirano had it on that point.
Serve and volley. Smart choice.
15-15. Casino.
See, I like this. I think you know, Donaldson's in a tough spot, but I like the problem solving that I'm seeing out of him. And again, this is, you know, playing a professional style match with ball changes now. You know, being able to manage the ball changes is also equally important. And he hadn't shown that serve and volley tactic there, and that was a real smart play, especially if Altamirano is going to stand that far back on the return.
Another hole here for Donaldson on his service game. 15-30.
Very quiet.
Here's the sneak. Oh, he got caught. Oh my goodness. It was a great idea. The sneak was a great idea, and he stopped. He didn't keep going. Oh, wow.
15-40 now.
2 break points for Altamirano.
Well played.
30-40.
One break point down, one to go. Jared Donaldson taking his time getting back to the baseline. He's got to calm himself down.
Great shot.
Deuce.
Yeah,
That's got to be a mental burst for him, for Donaldson, to fight those 2 break points off.
well, particularly because a lot of the big moments that we've had in the match so far have been won by Altamirano. I mean, they've had several close games that have gone beyond 30 all and gotten a deuce, and he's won the majority of them. So if he can somehow, you know, I think get this scoreboard positive for him in the second set, it's going to pay dividends, because I think he's already made a bunch of tactical improvements. Oh, goodness. That's a nightmare.
And as soon as he hit that little bunny, you could see it, that he knew he was smoked.
Yeah, but I just don't get it, because he served the ball wonderfully. That's a great serve out wide. The wind's blowing that way. He did it on purpose. Why such a late response to the short ball that he created? Boy, that's a bad time for that misjudgment.
Break point, advantage, Collin Altamirano.
Yeah,
Back to deuce.
I like it now. I mean, he's committed to getting first serve tennis, because Altamirano's serve percentage was much higher before. I think Donaldson's now starting to steady out his serve percentage, and I like where he's playing his forehands from. He's doing a lot of good things right now, but until you get the scoreboard going for you, the other guy who's a very good competitor is not going to officially buy your coffee, you know? There it is. First serve, good rhythm, opportunity ball, quick recognition, jump on it. I feel like this is probably, you know, the window emotionally for him, where if he can get the score to go along with all these positive statements that he's making, that he's going to be a lot more firm in this match, and he can actually, you know, put this into a very competitive 3 out of 5 final.
At 1-all, second set, Donaldson with the game point.
There it is.
Game winner.
Donaldson leads 2-1. Second set. Fought off 3 break points that game.
Excellent job.
That could be a turnaround game.
Oh, it may very well be. I mean, just in men's tennis, you know, you gain a lot of confidence off of your ability to hold, and he wasn't able to sort of make that statement in the match, and it's just so important that he's done it now.
The last 10 days have been extremely exciting here in Kalamazoo. We've seen a lot of firsts and a lot of upsets, some shockers and surprises, 2 of which are in front of us here today in the unseeded Collin Altamirano facing the 14 seed Jared Donaldson for the 18 singles championship. Yesterday, Paul Osterbahn and Ronnie Schneider, the 3 seeds in the 18 doubles, won that national championship. That's the first time since 2002 that a Kalamazoo product has won a national championship here in Kalamazoo. We mentioned the name Nick Rinks earlier in the first broadcast, and he was the boys 16s doubles in 2002. We weren't sure on the exact year, but so it's been 11 years since Kalamazoo has seen a national championship here for us, and Paul Osterbahn bringing that back to Kalamazoo yesterday with the 18 doubles championship alongside Ronnie Snyder. And here on center court, Collin Altamirano serving down 1-2, second set.
Love.
It's a perfect return. He took it early, really hit it on the nose, was looking to sneak in behind it. Something's happening between these decisions he's making and his ability to follow that up. Usually you can get a volley above net level and sort of complete that play. Well played.
30-15.
Pretty good.
40-15.
A lot of disguise in Altamirano. He kind of gives you the same picture, the same look every time. Pretty consistent where he's striking the ball from, and that makes the person on the other side have to hold another second, and he can get some of those winners. That's sort of the way Roger Federer does it. You know, he has the person just waiting and waiting, and then he picks his spot.
Game Altamirano wins a 2-all second set.
And it's a great message because after Donaldson takes 9 minutes to get through that last service game, now Altamirano comes back in 1 minute and 30 seconds. Here you go, buddy. Try to hold again. You know, he's just a lot of messages that are being sent by Collin today so far have been, you know, I think the right ones.
Love 15.
Mentally, that's got to take a toll on you and continue to wear you down if you're Jared Donaldson, as you said, spending 9 minutes on your service game, and now you're right back to it.
see, it's tough. You know, he overplayed the first forehand. Again, he's got a little bit of a wind behind him, and it's not dramatic out here, but it's a good 9 to 11 miles an hour, and it's enough to influence play. So there you saw the kick serve he hit was a smart choice, and the wind helped it. But then the next shot, he just overplayed it wild. He's got to find that range right now. He's been out here long enough to know. See, like there's another opportunity, and that's the play. I feel like all day long, whoever's on that far side can organize and play through this corner. It's helpful, but you got to be able to find how much power and how much spin, you know, is required to execute the shots. And after you've been out here for 45 minutes, you know, you got to find that range.
15-30.
Great serve. There it is. I just think that, you know, he's now suddenly back to neutral again, and he had the perfect start to the point. And now he's into the trap. And Altamirano outgrinds him, now Bandian style there.
15-40, 2 break points.
That's a tough one because, you know, you can't fault him for the way he tried to organize that 15-30 point. Uncharacteristic unforced error on a game point by Collin there, but the thing that I also like about Collin is that you notice even when he hasn't had a positive thing happen to him, his composure, his ability to kind of keep himself contained and work the towel. I mean, he's just been very seasoned, you know, for not a ton of
workmanlike too.
Yeah, I mean, not a ton of junior tennis matches, but the coaching that he's getting and the matches that he is playing, you know, have done an excellent job of preparing him. Very good. That's the one.
Yes.
That's the magic play.
Seen it work a couple of times for Donaldson, working there to fight off the break point to deuce.
Yeah, I haven't seen, you know, the final when Jack Sock won here over Mitchell Frank. That was one of the few times where I really felt like a kid came out, identified the way the wind was blowing, and just dominated. Sock just dominated the final on this court, understanding how to play it. And I just haven't seen a lot of, in my 6 or 7 years here doing these finals, it really felt like the players understood it as well as they could, because when you're trying to play a 3 out of 5, it takes a while, and you need as much help as you can get. Yeah, it's open. It's open, but it's not that easy. Not that easy to thread that needle on that one. That little bit of that crosswind pushes that ball wide.
You saw Altamirano put his hands up like this wide, just a couple of inches, but it goes back to playing the wind.
Yeah, he had a good look at it. It just in that case, he's got to move forward instead of letting the ball come to him.
Back to deuce.
Steven Kozlov winning over there in the 5th place match over Ronnie Schneider. Ronnie Schneider, again, part of that doubles team that won the national championship yesterday, and will get the big A badges and the free rides at the U.S. Open. Kozlov is the seed that lost early to Samuel Shropshire. Shropshire going to Northwestern on a scholarship. And that's the hole that Collin Altamirano has come through in the draw. It was Steven Kozlov's, you know, area of the draw that was the top seed that was knocked out. And Kozlov is, you know, a very seasoned vet and top ITF player that had a lot of expectation coming here as a 3 seed. So impressive to take a very disappointing loss as early as Kozlov did and still man up, not, come up with a mystery injury and not play the backdraw. Kozlov's out there playing. Ronnie Schneider, who's very engaged, and both competing for 5th place, which is the way it should be. Great to see, and congratulations to Steven.
Threading the needle on both the backhand and the forehand was Altamirano that time, but it paid off.
Well, the thing about Altamirano is he's changing direction a lot, but he's not changing direction and overplaying the speed of it. He's got a nice tempo of what he's doing, so he's keeping, Donaldson off balance with these direction changes, and he's got a mixture of heights and angles and direction changes that are allowing him to push him around. I just feel like a lot of times when players go for the down the lines, they just overplay the speed of it. On the line.
Advantage. Altamirano. This is another break point. He's had 6 break points in the last 2 games. Hasn't converted, obviously, on any of them. Game for Altamirano. He takes a 3-2 lead, 2nd set.
And the prevailing theme is just, Jared, you're not getting anything easy on your service games, buddy. And he has not had one service game that he's been able to feel like, now he's complaining with the referee. He doesn't feel like he's getting any line calls. It's just a frustrating day, but I think it's a lot more related to the service game that's going on here. He's got to settle down. I mean, it's still just, obviously a 3-2 in the 2nd set. He's got a lot of time and space to pull this match off, but you got to be careful emotionally how much energy he's spending here with the ref.
And what's the preparation like for a best 3 out of 5? Is it more physical or is it more mental with these 2 guys that are used to just playing best 2 out of 3?
That's an excellent question. I mean, talking to Coach Joey Gilbert about it, he says that he's done a lot of endurance running with Altamirano. He felt that he's more of a huskier, big bone guy, he called him, and said that he's not going to be the fastest guy, but he's going to be the most consistent at running at his best speed. So he's conditioned Altamirano for these long, grueling points, and so far, Collin's held up. Donaldson feels that he's done the right training off court. He says that he's done 2-a-days in fitness a lot to prepare for this. So both boys feel like that they're able. Altamirano said he was a little sore, but he says that, the moment that he's playing for, he's not going to think about that when he's out there on the court. And so far, I think it's, been shown by his court coverage and his movement.
Jared Donaldson spending that entire time out talking with the chair umpire. And so you speak of kind of the emotional toll and emotional expenditure that is. Now Collin Altamirano up 3-2 2nd set, serving.
Double fault. That's his 4th of the match. All.
Comes back with a strong first serve after that double fault.
15-30.
Well constructed and well played there by Jared Donaldson.
15-30.
Yeah, it was a little bit better by Altamirano. He stepped up there and got inside the court, put a little bit more on it. That was not just his average rally ball. He applied a little more pressure that time.
Break point. Deuce.
So you can call me a broken record, Bob, but if I'm not mistaken, that was an off-speed kicker to the backhand, used the wind, first ball forehand, back over to the corner to set the table for his direction change. So down the game point, he didn't go for a big bomb for a serve like our 16 and under guys were doing, and he really made sure he played the point he wanted. You know, I just can't impress, you know, how important that is until you get to the point where you're a top tour server. You know, when you can serve 130s to get out of trouble, that's fine. But at this point, these guys are going to have to play the points. And so for that choice there to go inside in and miss it by 5 feet long with you know, what's at stake here? The scoreboard being 3-3 versus 4-2 is a big, big difference in score at this point in the match. There's another first serve.
Game Altamirano. He leads 4-2. Second set.
And you're almost wondering if this is just daggering Donaldson even more, because he's not just losing these games, he's having game points and then losing these games. So he's knowing that I could be in a completely different score, and now I am in some serious threat of being 2-0 down and 3 out of 5. He's got to really hold it together here.
Jared Donaldson serving down 2-4, second set, and down a set to Collin Altamirano.
Dude, no ball.
Low 15.
More ball! Low 15. Ball.
All.
15 all. I've been holding the entire match.
30-15.
An overrule by the chair umpire there. And could we see one of the easiest service games of this match for Jared Donaldson here.
I tell you, and if he gets it, you know, it's going to make him a little bit more confident, a little more free to swing on the next service game for Altamirano. So, you know, if he does get out of this one finally at a love or 15 score, which has not happened all match, be interesting to see what boost he gets. Oh, wow.
Let it fly there.
Yeah, he's just not helping himself. Just not helping himself there. The total collective frustration that he's gotten throughout this now is starting to cause him to miss balls that he really, you know, is probably been able to make all week.
Deuce.
From 40-15 to deuce.
And there's no reason for that one. He's done a great job in recent times here with his transition game, so why not just take that and go to the net? You know, why do you have to try to hit that as if you're going for a big winner or something? It's not worth it right now. He's already proven that he can win inside the service box. He needs to move up to those. Now he's over serving, he's over hitting.
He could get a double fault here too.
That's a good shot. Oh, wow.
On the backhand side,
It's
which
just-
he struggled with.
Well, it's a little bit, it's not enough coverage, a little flat. I think Altamirano for sure is a David Nalbandian giveaway, but I think that Donaldson may be the closest to like Gil Simon maybe. That might be my closest prototype for him. The headband, the wiry body, dictating with the forehand, pretty flat backhand. But Simone, even though he has a pretty precise backhand, you know, doesn't end up missing it as much. And that margin, or that lack of margin, has been tricky.
Deuce.
It's a rare game point on forced error by Altamirano where he's gotten an opportunity to win the game and just missed a routine ball. It keeps Donaldson alive. I mean, this is hanging on a loose thread here, the second set. I mean, the 5-2 serving versus a 4-3 serving is a big, big difference in score. That's the one that I'm very concerned about.
Altamirano.
And he's missed that. He's at double digits on that unforced error today. He's definitely in the double digits on that particular shot. Well played. On the outside of the line. Outside of the line. Definitely good. A little wishful thinking by Collin. A well played point by
Very
Donaldson.
well constructed there.
Excellent tennis by Donaldson.
Back to deuce.
I think he's done enough to solve the problems that he's had in this match. It's just going to be really important for him to put together complete games. He's playing some solid points now. Just wide. And that's a tough one. In that instance, the referee is a little unsighted, so the chair umpire has to help him make that call. Collin sort of shielded the ref from that call.
Back to break point. how deflating for Jared Donaldson there, up 40-15, fighting off break points, and then just giving it away.
And when it rains, it pours. So now he's really getting upset about it, but the ball was clearly out.
We'll turn the mic over to Tournament Director Mark Riley in the tower for the next trophy presentation here on Championship Sunday from Stowe Stadium.
First, the runner-up in the boys 18s feed-in goes to Ronnie Schneider of Bloomington, Indiana. And the champion of the boys 18 feed-in, representing 5th place in the 2013 tournament, goes to Stefan Kozlov of Pembroke Pines, Florida.
Carolyn Binder, Bob Wood, and Mark Bay back with you from Center Court. Championship Sunday of the 71st USTA Boys 18 and 16 Junior National Tennis Championships. The 18 singles in front of us now, the national championship, and Collin Altamirano, unseeded out of Yuba City, California, up a set and up 5-2 on Jared Donaldson of Cumberland, Rhode Island. Altamirano serving for the second set.
Wonderful shot. Where has that been?
15-all.
That play is open all day. It's a great choice. Big to a big target with the wind helping. I mean, I just hope that he is not just swinging in an upset manner and he pays attention to the significance of that, because he wants to turn this around. He's got to really understand and be organized about all his choices.
Two very well-constructed points for Jared Donaldson.
Oh, but he's hitting with conviction, and the wind's helping him, and he's obviously a little upset too. Sometimes when someone is prohibitively down on the scoreboard, they can just sort of disconnect emotionally from the score and go for it. So you'll see this, but I just hope that he understands the significance of how to play that side. He has to conquer being able to have a pretty solid set of choices on both sides of the net, both with the wind and against the wind. And our scoreboard in tennis doesn't give you extra for the amazing winners. And then, you know, I mean, obviously he makes two amazing shots. He misses that backhand. It's right back to 30-all. It's just hard to get any gain. That's it. That's the shot. That's the ticket. Got to be able to find ways to play through that part of the court as often as possible, because you can see how easy it is, and I just like the recognition and how well he's moving in and transitioning there.
Break point now facing Altamirano.
And it wasn't that, you know, Collin hit a huge serve there. I mean, you know, Jared just got a little bit caught, wind picked up, and there it is again. It's similar to, you know, what our 16s champion did, Tommy Paul. He just, if you know that the other guy's in the wrong frame of mind, take the speed off and keep running the score up until he figures it out.
Set point.
So I didn't think that was a good choice. So he took a ball below net level, off balance, and tried to thread the needle. Now, he did actually make the shot, but he gave up a complete open court to the other side, and Jared was able to take advantage of that. I think that would have been a cross-court choice for Collin on that first ball.
Advantage Altamirano.
It's strange. I mean, is he intentionally wanting to start the third set? I can't imagine in a match of this magnitude that he wants to do that.
Game and
Service
second
ace.
set.
Service ace for Collin Altamirano, who with 2 sets in the bank is just 1 set away from USTA Junior Nationals history as the unseeded player coming into this championship match. No unseeded player has won a championship here in Kalamazoo. And at 6'1", 6'2", guys, he is 1 set away from history. And just a dejected Jared Donaldson goes back to the bench. He had his opportunities though, and he built something from set 1 to set 2, but the clock is running out for the 14 seed Jared Donaldson.
There's no doubt, but you know, I think that Donaldson's played a bunch of good points with a lot of good information. He is just so, you know, upset with himself, and now he's upset with the refs, but I feel if he can get a little bit of scoreboard going, you know, right now he's got to be sitting there. I know his head's down there on the umbrella, but he's got to figure out, well, you know, how do I want this championship moment remembered in my life? And I think that he will, you know, man up here and do what he can do to try to compete and fight for this third set. I think he'll have some passion. I think he'll do the best he can. But if he is not able to get some service holes strung together and really, you know, play solid games and complete points, it's going to be tough.
Carolyn Binder, Mark Bay, and Bob Wood along with you on the Public Media Network Charter Channel 95, as well as the AT&T platform. We're streaming around the world on USTAboys.com. It's my understanding that the Altamirano family is gathered around their computers on USTAboys.com watching their hometown kid from Yuba City, California, Collin Altamirano, up 2 sets to love on Jared Donaldson. Donaldson will be serving to open the third set.
Yeah, it's so good. Yep, it's very good tennis.
15 love.
Yeah, that quality going to that corner, that shot that set up the short ball, I just want to see how well he can intentionally build points to let his strengths be his strengths. And to me, that was more of a rally ball, and he was trying to force something there. It's like if it was the 8-year-olds and it was a red, yellow, or green ball, that was probably a yellow ball, and he went for a green. Here he comes again. Bad luck there.
15-30.
Collin covered it well and saw him coming, so he got over there and hit the passing shot down. I mean, geometrically, when you approach cross court, you open up angles. So, you know, you have to be good enough to cover them. But also sometimes when you really hit it well and get it through the sideline, it opens up easy volley opportunities. So it's a little tricky. It's not as much like when John McEnroe played and Stan Smith played, when, you know, you probably hit the majority of your approach shots down the line. Nowadays, with the tennis and the way the game is played, people come in more behind open court shots.
15-40, and once again, we're facing 2 break points.
But he has to play defense there. He doesn't have the right to try to be a hero in that situation. Just not quite sure what he's thinking in there. Interestingly enough, before the match, you know, Collin's coach had him over in the shade drinking some water, and Donaldson was actually drinking a Red Bull. I was a little surprised to see that he was drinking a Red Bull before. Not sure if that's a part of his routine or his ritual, but
Game for Altamirano. He leads 1-love, 3rd set.
and I like this game from Altamirano because it's so easy to win 2 sets, and majority of your career you've just won a tennis match. Mentally, physically, psychologically. He had good rhythm, he worked hard physically, he showed passion, he showed how important that game was to him. He's just sending the right messages, you know, in a lot of different ways that he wants to be the champion today. Big 5 to 10 minutes here for Donaldson, because now he definitely, you know, is showing with his body language how, you know, uncomfortable he is and how upset he is, and you know, he really needs to sort of throttle back here and just be as professional as he can be. Again, this is an opportunity to play with professionals, and with that, you know, is a growth experience. So
Collin Altamirano opening the 3rd set with a service break. Now on serve and a service ace. Does not get a whole lot better than that for the unseeded Altamirano.
That's his fourth ace of the match.
yeah, I like that play. Not sure what Jared is complaining about there.
$15-all.
$15-30. $15-40. 2 break points.
Yeah, and I like Donaldson just very calmly is hitting crisp returns to big safe areas and getting the ball over on Collin in a hurry. Collin's serve percentage has dropped a little bit, even though he started off with a good first serve in this game. He's given him some chances. This looks like Collin shrinking a little bit, not getting up after the serve as much, kind of rushing it. Upper body's ducking down a little bit, and he's starting to net some of his first serves. It's just been tough for him, you know. Well, the thing is that he's also, when he gets his first break point, he's almost losing all of them. Like, sometimes you get a break point, it's just important to make the statement that you're going to execute on the very first one. There it is. It's great tennis.
Games are 1-1, third set.
And something competitively, you know, to stick his chest out about. I mean, he did a lot of good things that game and, you know, played aggressively, played the style he likes to play, played inside the court, and was successful in breaking. So let's see if he can, you know, pool together some feel good, try to get himself a service hold.
The players opened the championship breaking serve. Donaldson seems to be building his confidence here, and winning the points he's constructing is helping him out a lot.
Great spot.
Very low.
Let's see. Gets to 40. Now let's see if he can execute the first point. Yeah, that's
This is a nasty cycle that's just been happening all
he's
match long.
getting, but particularly not winning the first game point that he receives. It just makes Collin feel like that every game could be his. There's no leads that are safe.
Game Donaldson, he leads 2-1, third set.
And a much-needed mental boost for Donaldson, the 14 seed. I don't think he's led on the scoreboard. He hasn't all match. Being down 2 sets, he needed to hold on to that, especially being up 40 love.
Yeah, and this is that period where, again, you know, nutrition, fitness, hydration, you know, all these different factors come into play. You know, what did these guys eat for breakfast? You know, you don't know if the 16th final is going to be long or short. You know, now Collin's changing his shirt. He's sponsored by Athletic DNA, so he's putting on a new shirt. You know, looks like Jared's sponsored by Head, so they've got some positive sponsors that are supporting and helping them in their junior efforts, but you know, what do they have out there on the court? I don't see a lot of big coolers. You know, with the young kids, they got a big cooler full of stuff that their mom and dad made from. These older guys, you know, sometimes they're too cool for school, but you need to have everything out there you can to get you through a long one. I mean, I've seen some unbelievable. That one Australian Open match with Verdasco and Nadal, I remember people were handing those guys food out of the crowd practically. It looked like they were eating any type of snack bar or apple or anything they could get to try to get through that long 3 out of 5. So here, I'm not sure. I didn't really ask what they had done nutrition-wise in preparation here, but with all of the feel goods that Collin has had, you know, is he capable now of continuing to keep himself hungry and to do what he needs to do here to sort of close the door, not let Jared get a sniff?
Are there restrictions on like the size of things you can bring out? Because if it were me, I'd be wheeling out like, you know, the 10-gallon cooler full of snacks and drinks and ice and whatever.
I don't think so. I mean, obviously, hopefully they've eaten enough, but you know, when this is such a new experience for them, it's not like they've had a bunch of preparation.
For a 3 out of 5.
Yeah, and
15 love.
for many years I dated a marathon runner, and you know, most of the preparation for them is for 20 miles. They really don't. There's nothing that can prepare them for that last 6. That's something that they just have to finish on grit and determination. But most of the time, their preparation is for a little bit shorter than the actual.
Collin Altamirano serving, now down 1-2, third set.
Love.
Right idea by Donaldson.
Yeah, it's great defense. And, you know, Collin's serve percentage has dropped a little bit. And now, you know, Donaldson's starting to get that offensive start in the point that we were talking about before, that sort of that football analogy.
Game Altamirano. Games are 2-all. Third set. Altamirano won the first 2 sets, 6-1 and 6-2.
And again, I think it's important to point out how relatively easy that service game was for Collin Altamirano. Breezing through it on the other side, Jared Donaldson at 2-all in the third set serving. He's got to get through one of these easy, or that's going to probably start to bite him in this final or third set.
And in recent years, we've had a lot of straight set victories here in the national championship match. I mean, there's been some years where the matches have been shortened due to the threat of weather. The tournament staff has the right to shorten it and make it a 2 out of 3 instead of a 3 out of 5 final in inclement conditions. But nonetheless, in the 3 out of 5 set matches that we've had some quick 3-setters, but we, you know, in recent memory, haven't had a 5-setter happen out here.
30, wow. 2 double faults on the last 2 points that were his first double faults of the match.
Yeah, I love that play.
15-30. 15-40. 2 break points.
And a break
Game.
point on a double fault.
That was his 3rd double fault of that game. It led to the break. Altamirano leads 3 games to 2, 3rd set.
And is the wind just completely out of the sails here for the 14 seed Jared Donaldson?
I think if we had to take his frustration level on a scale of 0 to 10, I'd say he's at a 10.5.
A 10.5.
He's over 10 right now. He's upset. He's disgusted. He's not happy with his tennis. He's not happy with the court, the refs. I mean, he's really he's gone through the gamut of emotions out here. And the shame is that he's really played some beautiful tennis and some great sequences. If I could take this match right now, I could pull him aside and I could show him like an ESPN highlight reel of his best 20 points of this and say, now just block out the situation and play from this point, he can actually probably do it. But I just don't think that he's even, seeing what positive that he's done now, because competitively and emotionally and just holding serve-wise, he just has not performed up to his expectations. So sometimes it's hard to see the forest through the trees, and that's the beauty of junior tennis, but also the tough part of junior tennis. There's no coaching out here. This is a college match. Somebody might be able to talk to him and pull him, bring him around. But in our sport, we have a dynamic where there's a problem-solving aspect that's on your own. That's what makes it unique and great as well.
Collin Altamirano serving up 3-2, 3rd set.
Love. I'm going to take the other side here, Mark. I so believe in the yogi theory. It ain't over till it's over, and I think this match is a long way from being over.
Based on the events that have happened this week, I'm going to agree with you, Bob, but a tough hill to climb for Jared Donaldson.
30 love. It's not looking very good right now, but hey, who knows?
That's why they play the game, right?
Yeah, you just keep playing, keep plugging.
Oh.
Whoa, where did that come from? 30-15.
Now a little reverse of what we've seen. Collin Altamirano up 30 love, and Jared Donaldson fighting back.
It's a nice solid point from Jared as well, and moved well, hit safe targets, and I just think that some point sometimes, you know, you get a little upset and then you have to eat some humble pie and then you just settle down and play. And I think that right now he's at that survival mode point now. He has to play solid. That's well played. That's well played. Because Collin's doing everything right there and feeling like, hey, I've been winning, sort of playing a nice, solid, steady, move the ball around. And now here, Jared's just a little bit more focused, a little more concentrated and you know, dialed in a little better than he had been, willing to work for the points, compete for the points. I think that the biggest factor is that Collin Serpison had just dropped down a ton from the first set. So that's, you know, that's not the time or the place for that comment. And, you know,
speaks to his mental.
Point penalty.
Yeah, and now he'll
No,
get
it's advantage. Holy moly.
Wow.
yeah, it's difficult.
speaks to his mental stage.
Yeah, it's difficult.
But that's not play.
Daryl Davies, now he's having a chat with Daryl Davies sitting on the court, so he undoubtedly heard that as well.
He's not going to win that argument. It's like 20 people could run red lights, but if you run the red light right when the cop happens to be sitting there, you're getting the ticket.
Right.
And with head of officials Daryl Davies sitting right there, he's going to yell that at the top of his lungs. Even though it wasn't a swear, it's still not allowed in the code.
Advantage.
And Collin had been making a lot of first serves in his service games, and that was going along with how well he was competing. Now he's going to do the old school Andre Agassi, start out wide. Look at off-speed kicker wide, short ball forehand, net appearance. Wow.
Wisely lets it go.
Showed a different look on the game point to get out of a struggle game. I like it.
Altamirano now leads in this third set 4-2.
And that was a shame because honestly, you know, Jared had done some good things in that game, had some opportunities, and Collin was starting to feel a little bit of pressure because he started to feel like he had to do a little bit more in the rallies than he had been. So that's a tough game. And obviously that code violation he received was after he missed a pretty easy return. You know, he overplayed. That's a great shot. Just a wonderful shot.
15 love.
He's got to be willing to build the points until he can get the opportunity ball to sort of play offense like that. And clearly he has an exceptional forehand that he can do a lot with. He's just got to work the point until he can create those lanes. I'm telling you, I would be amazed if he can actually consolidate this and run the table and win 4 points in a row. He has yet to do it today. This would be great for him at obviously a critical time in the match. And he goes for a big one. wow.
Game.
Took advantage of an unforced error there.
Altamirano leads 4-3, third set.
That's a couple game point drop shots that Collin has mixed in there that really are not the best choices there. So I think, to your point with Yogi, Bob, I mean, door's not closed, but there's a little crack.
Yeah.
There's a little crack.
Yeah. You never know.
Carolyn Binder, Mark Bay, and Bob Wood in the tower for the 71st USTA National Championship from center court on Stowe Stadium. Earlier this morning, we watched Tommy Paul, the third seed out of Boca Raton, Florida, become the 16s national champion over his roommate and the 4th seed in the 16s bracket, 6-3, 6-1 over Jake Devine. Yesterday, of course, Paul Osterbahn, Ronnie Schneider winning the 18 doubles, the first time since 2002 that a national championship has come back to Kalamazoo. So Paul and Ronnie off to New York. Who's going to join him in the 18 singles? Well, it's going to either be Collin Altamirano, unseeded out of Yuba City, California. He holds a 2-set-to-love lead over Jared Donaldson, the 14 seed, and up 4-3 in this third set. Collin Altamirano to serve.
It's a good statement. Good statement from Donaldson right there. Altamirano misses the first serve.
Here's where the pressure changes.
And Jared hits a nice solid return. You know, Altamirano's, again, he's been missing the first serve this entire third set, and there's little mini momentum shifts associated with that. Overplayed the backhand with the wind. He's got to get a little bit more cover on that cross-court backhand there so he could use the wind to maneuver Collin a little wider.
These next two games that Collin's going to serve are the toughest two games he's ever served in his junior career, in his life. And if he holds both serves, he's obviously going to be the national champion, but it's not going to be easy, folks.
It's a great shot.
30-15.
That was tricky. Donaldson did the right thing, took the return early, but then once he chose not to come in behind it, he actually had a fair amount of space to retreat, and he just mistimed his split step.
I'm going to say that he will not hold his serve both times.
That's a great use. Well, that's a great use of the crosswind. I mean, right there,
40-50.
taking any possible available information and utilizing it there. You know, you go into the strength, but with the crosswind. 2 first serves. Good first ball. Tough. That's
and I don't have to take you to dinner now, Bob.
But that's.
Wait, no, I said the next 2 serves that he served. So I was wrong on that first game.
Oh.
Because he held. He just held.
So we're going all or nothing.
Well, unless he breaks.
It's okay. I'll still take you to dinner. It's
okay,
fine.
That's
To your
anyway,
thought, Mark.
Marino's ahead 5-3 third set. Unless he breaks Donaldson, of course, then you won't have to serve.
Right.
Love 15.
Donaldson looking for the mark.
He said, if I complain about it, do I get a code violation? He's still upset about the code violation he received.
That was a huge point in this match.
Yeah. Wow.
About 30.
Yeah, that's nowhere near the court. And not sure, you know, I think the champion here has obviously been able to play in the U.S. Open in the main draw. Not sure if there's an automatic wild card for the finalists to be in the qualies, but, you know, I think that being able to get into a match like this and having the possible disappointment of not getting it done, you know, if there's a concession sometimes that softens the blow, but
15-30.
there have been a lot of great players that have not won this tennis tournament, obviously, in singles, so it's not that it's the automatic entitlement that it's going to be the next, you know, top 10, you know, American pro, but clearly to be able to play in a draw in a field of your peers and make it through the best competition in a venue in a stadium with a history like this is commendable every year. That's the play. That's the one I like.
That would go on your ESPN highlight reel
yeah.
of his top 20 points for Jared Donaldson.
He's done a lot of them. That's just not enough, you know, in terms of, we talked about it before, we need almost 100 tennis points to win this. It's a lot of points. Today it's going to probably be maybe in the 80s for Altamirano by winning, if he ends up winning this in 3 sets quickly. You know, obviously mathematically 24 is a minimum, but after you get through all the deuces and everything, it moves it up.
40-30.
Yeah, it's just so important. You know, so many things have happened. You know, you want desperately to make Collin have to come to this end and serve it out.
Deuce.
And again, Donaldson just having to fight for his service games. We've seen that all match long for him, practically.
But there he has to be passionate and have the willingness to build that point. There's just no reason to overplay a ball wide in that situation. It's just not a good error.
Better be careful on this second serve. Good serve.
Good ball.
Advantage Donaldson.
Was in good rhythm there. Nice balance. But again, that's a much better shot. He built up the first rally ball, and then he got an opportunity ball with time inside the court, and he still hit that to a big cross-court target. I mean, I like that choice a lot better.
Game point.
Here we go.
There it is. Game Donaldson. Altamirano leads 5-4. And in a couple of minutes, we'll be serving for the match.
Well, the plot's going to thicken here.
It's going to thicken big time. I mean, this is going to be very, very interesting because this is the hardest game in the world to serve, especially with this setting.
Yeah, I prefer to tell all my players to fight like crazy to get that break. When you have that 2-game space in the score, no loose points there. I mean, Altamirano didn't play a bad game there, but he still made a concentration error right there at the end on the return. Just sometimes when people get something for nothing, You know, it just gives him a little bit more of a positive boost to go out and fight like a dog for your service game. You know, he really.
I almost favored Donaldson in this game. I mean, and I shouldn't say that. I mean, I have no right to say that, but just because of the situation.
I favor
his
whoever gets.
His breathing is different.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thinking is different. His movement will be different.
I think if Collin's first serve percentage is reasonable, I like him, and I also just have been in those stat rooms a lot of times, and the person that wins the first point in these games, there's a lot on it.
Collin Altamirano serving for the championship.
Yeah. And that first point was big, and obviously I agree with you there, Bob. And you say the breathing was different with Donaldson. Not only was he breathing, that's the loudest that he's enunciated and shown like competitive passion for a point right there. Most all day. I cannot believe he went for that. He had done everything right up until that decision. He couldn't have been playing a better point. See, the thing about it is, again, with Collin receiving so many free points today, the feeling that he knows he has to earn right now, and usually the guy that's the steady guy sometimes has a problem closing it out because he doesn't have the weapons. So that first serve right there, how significant that first serve is relative to his percentage being lower this third set is that's an enormous point, an enormous time to go forward in this game. I would take the pace off and make this one. He goes bomb. He makes it. Great inside out. Inside out. Sets it up.
40-15.
Good first forehand with the win into the magic corner where the pay dirt's been paying out all day. It's been paying to play that corner.
Double match. Double match point for an unseeded player.
I tell you, a chance to make history.
And he does it with a bomb serve.
Another first serve.
Another first serve for Collin Altamirano, the first unseeded champion here at Kalamazoo. The crowd appreciates it. The standing O for Collin Altamirano from Yuba City, California in straight sets over Jared Donaldson. 6-1, 6-2, 6-4. Bob, you've been here for 35 years. Wrap your head around what just happened here on center court.
Well, it's never happened before. We only had one other time in the 18 and under division, and that was in 1993 when Cecil Mamet was unseeded, and he got to the finals, played Paul Goldstein. Cecil played the perfect first set, won it 6-2. It started to rain. They moved it indoors. Paul came back and beat him. They shortened it from 3 out of 5 to 2 out of 3. Paul came back and beat him. And today we have an unseeded player for the first time in at least 71 years. It's been here in Kalamazoo that has now become the national champion in the 18 and under singles division.
Collin Altamirano signing autographs for the ball kids. He's headed to New York City. Mark, lay out what's in front of him with the wild card in the U.S. Open.
Well, the junior champion here has received the wild card every year, so I don't think that this will be any different. Collin's played a lot of professional tennis and is looking to try to do that. Neither player today has turned pro, so whether he turns pro between now and then to make a decision on what to do, it's an automatic $20,000 to play in the first round of the U.S. Open, and the upsides of $40,000 if you win your first match. And some players have been able to win a match. Denis Novikov actually in recent years won a match there, so the junior player has been somewhat competitive. think that all in all, it's a great opportunity for Collin, and he's done a great job. And credit to him and his coach Joey Gilbert at the JMB Academy at the Arden Hills back in Sacramento for getting the job done. And congrats to his family as well.
Carolyn Binder, Mark Bay, and Bob Wood bringing you action from the 18 singles championship. We just watched Collin Altamirano become the first unseeded champion here in Kalamazoo. Let's turn it over to the tower and tournament director Mark Riley for the awards presentation.
Can we give these guys a round of applause? These guys have been playing great tennis all week. A 14th seed and an unseeded player. That shows you how deep this tournament is. And again, congratulations, guys. I'd like to introduce the president of Kalamazoo College, Dr. Wilson Oyularan.
Let's give our players another round of applause. Really great job, both of you. There were surprises at Wimbledon, and there were surprises right here in Kalamazoo. We are the best. Again, I'd like to thank all of our spectators, all of our volunteers, the city, Kalamazoo College, Western. This tournament belongs to this community. Thank you. Parents, coaches, players, thanks for visiting our wonderful city. Thanks for bringing us such great tennis. And thanks for raising such wonderful young men.
I'd like to introduce our runner-up, Jared Donaldson. Jared would like to talk to his fans.
I'd like to thank everyone for coming out and those who supported me and my opponent, and just showed love for the game. And so I would like to thank everyone for coming out. I'd like to thank my coach, my dad, for being here and supporting me, and I'd like to thank my sister, my mom, for also supporting me, and my sponsor head and all the coaches that have worked with me here and or throughout my career, whether in Rhode Island or Argentina or Florida or wherever. I would like to thank them also, and also all the sponsors who helped put on this great tournament, and for all the volunteers, as the woman said before, and yeah.
Congratulations.
You can start right over there.
I don't want to mess this up. I believe this is the first time we had an unseeded player win this national championship. No, it's the first. But if that's wrong, that means that there's only a couple, so we'll go with first. All right? So I'd like to introduce you guys to Collin Altamirano. He can hold it. I'm going to take it from him. You can hold that a little longer. Because you don't take that home. We keep that. I have to tell you, Collin is the man because he didn't know what all these photos were. These guys have been player today, everything. So enjoy, man. Enjoy. Again, I'd like to introduce our champion, Collin Altamirano.
Well, thanks everybody for coming. I had a pretty good tournament. Yeah, good job to Jared getting to the finals. It's a good result. So happy. I was so happy right now. Kind of speechless. Thanks to my coaches right there. They helped me out a lot throughout this week, especially just mentally and just everything. They were awesome. Thanks you guys for all showing up. It was fun playing with the huge crowd here. Makes it more motivating to run down that extra ball, and glad to get on. Glad to be on top and win. And just thank you everybody. I appreciate it.
Again, you can slide over there. Again, I'd like to thank Jared. It's a tough day. You're a champion, and also Collin. And I'd like to thank everybody here for coming out. Big week of crowds, and let's keep this thing going. I hope to see you in 2014. And also, I'd like to thank Terry Miller, I work with every day on this tournament, Coach Murphy up there, our Red Crew, and we'll see you in 2014. Thank you.
What a way to put a wrap on the